Hey there everyone, it's Laurel Beard here, and today I've got a video showing you 5 ways to use mirrored cardstock. I adore mirrored cardstock. They come in 18 different shades and a satin or high gloss finish. These are from Tonic Studios. They are $2.99 for a 5-pack of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, just to give you an idea of price, and they are 92 pounds in weight. So I've got 5 ideas to share with you today on how to use this mirrored cardstock. Now the high gloss is like straight up mirror, like you can hold it up and put your makeup on if you want to. So I thought for this one I'm going to show you how to do a little die cut piecing, if you will. I could not think of a better name, so I'm rolling with it. This is a piece of green mirrored cardstock there, and this is the Ornate tree die from Tonic. I'm going to go ahead and adhere that down to the green mirrored cardstock, run it through my die cutting machine, and I'm going to leave everything in place as you can see here. And to the left I have a piece of black mirrored cardstock. That's in the satin finish. Now this is some Nuvo Deluxe adhesive glue. It's got a very fine precision tip there, and I'm just adding a little dot on every single bit of those negative pieces. You can very easily see the outline when you flip your panel over. I just wanted to keep everything in place so I could easily make sure that every bit that I'm going to transfer over to that black base has some glue on it. Once I'm satisfied everything's got glue, I'm going to carefully peel up the negative piece, leaving all of those bits in place in the die cut. If one comes out, it's okay, it's not a big deal, we can fix it. And then I'm going to go ahead and adhere that down place it right over my card base here. I'm putting it exactly where I want the little bits to go. So you want to kind of prepare yourself, where do you want your image to go before you go ahead and slap it down on your card base there. So at this point, I'm going to take the tip of a paintbrush and I'm going to start pushing all those little bits out. Now because each of those little bits has a piece of glue behind it, once I push it out onto the black cardstock, or the mirrored cardstock, it's going to stay in place. But with my left hand, I'm fairly lightly pulling up the die just a little bit. Now I've switched over to tweezers because I needed to get into some little fine intricate pieces, little areas there. But I'm lifting the die, as you can see, just a little bit, and then I'm pushing it, the little bits, right out through with the tweezers. Lifting it helps me. You actually kind of see it move to the card base, but you also kind of hear it, because sometimes if you don't lift up your die, you don't know if anything came out or not. Now a couple pieces were stubborn there, so they didn't come out, so I'm just going to line it back up and push it back out with my tweezers again. So again, I'm lifting up that die just a little bit. See those little stubborn pieces? They didn't want to come out. They're coming out, baby. They are coming out. So you just kind of line it up over the bits that are already out. You're just placing it over the top like a puzzle, and then you just push out the little bits and pieces. That one was really giving me a hard time, but I prevailed. And then I'm done. Then I give it a good press with my hands. I take a cloth, make sure there's no glue oozing out anywhere, and then look at that. Isn't that neat? And then I also have the piece to the right that's the negative piece. So here's a look at the little bits we pushed all the way through to create a beautiful card, and here's the negative piece. I mean, these are just so much fun. And I especially love that you get 2 for 1. So I'm using the little bits, and I'm also using the negative space of the die cut panel as well. So this is so fun. Let's move on to another way. We're going to use it with paste. We're going to create some texture with paste, and we're going to use the Nuvo Glimmer Paste here. This is some blue mirrored cardstock, and this is a very well-loved stencil. As you can see, my goodness, it's dirty, but it works just fine. I'm going to go ahead and adhere that stencil down in place with some purple tape, and then I'm going to take my palette knife and just smear this black glimmer paste right through the stencil. I can't wait till my silicone palette knife comes. I'm just saying, wait till I show you that. This metal spatula is going to go bye-bye because Tonic's got a new media palette knife coming out anyway. So once you're done, you know, peel up your stencil. Go ahead and wash your stencil and your knife right away. You don't want that paste to dry on it. But once this is good and dry, I'm done. I just adhered a sentiment right over the top. And this was really pretty and shiny and textury. So you get the glimmer paste, the glitter from the glimmer paste, and you get the shine from the mirror cardstock. I know. Moving on to number 3, heat embossing on a satin finish. So this is a satin finish. It's still very shiny, but not like that mirror. It's just got a very pretty sheen to it. So I'm going to do regular heat embossing. So as normal, I'm going to prep it with my anti-static tool. Then I'm going to ink up my stamp with some Versamark ink and go ahead and press my paper into the stamp, or you can press your stamped image onto the paper, whatever floats your boat here. And then you can see that shine. Now I could have just let this dry and called it a day, and it would have been very pretty, but I decided to put on 2 different colors of embossing powders from Wow. This is a white puff embossing powder from Laurel. So I put it on part of the bird, and then I'm going to add some rose gold on the other parts of it to get some full coverage heat embossing, but in 2 different colors. So I'm going to go ahead and funnel all the powders back into the jars, and then I'm going to use my heat tool here. And you can see how quickly, I did make sure to heat my gun up off camera for about 30 seconds. I wanted it good and hot because I didn't know how the satin mirror cardstock was going to take to heat embossing, and it took very, very, very well. No issues at all. I wouldn't keep your gun in the same place very long, but as you can see, I was successfully heat embossed and got a very pretty image here. And then just again, finish this car off with a cute little heart from the same satin red mirrored cardstock and a fun little sentiment. Okay, we're going to move on to number 4, just traditional die cutting. This is the mixed edge rectangle layering basics die set from Tonic Studios. I just went ahead and cut, this is another piece of the satin mirrored cardstock here. So I just cut 2 pieces just traditionally like you would do with your cardstock. This is also another die from Tonic Studios. I'm just going to use the With Love, but I wanted to show you that it also has that little shadow piece, so you can create a different color shadow if you wanted to. And this is from the Tonic kit number 16, and I'm going to use that little heart die. It cuts out all these individual shaped hearts, and I just adhered them down. Now, photographing mirrored cardstock is incredibly hard, so you're not seeing the shine from the satin mirrored cardstock, but it's so pretty. All that blue is beautiful and shiny, and those red hearts are also from some red satin mirrored cardstock. It's so pretty and shiny. Now for tip number 5, stamping and heating on the high gloss. Now I have got a happy accident here. First, I'm just going to do some regular stamping with the cute little tea set. I am using a permanent black ink. So I'm using my Misty because when you stamp on the glossy, it's got a, kind of a very slippery finish. So I'm using my Misty to ensure perfect placement in case I had to double stamp, which in this case I did. So at this point, since it's a glossy surface, I wanted to use my heat tool. And I'm using the Ranger Heat It, and this is when an accident occurred. I was like, whoops. So I started heating it, and you see how the gloss is just kind of coming up when I leave my heat gun on in the same spot. I just created this beautiful, like, I don't know, blended look. Like I look like I blended some ink on there, but I really didn't. That was the result from heat embossing on the high gloss cardstock. And I didn't even use the traditional heat tool. I used the Ranger Heat It tool, which is for drawing watercolor and things. So it's not even an intense output of heat. So I just thought this was cool as all get out. And I'm going to do this a lot with this cardstock because I love the look that it left behind. I'm just so giddy over this. So you can heat on the satin mirrored cardstock with no problems, and you can heat on the high gloss cardstock, but you're going to get this look as a result, which again, I think is so stinking cool. I'm so glad I made a whoopsie and that happened. So 5 ways to use your mirrored cardstock. I hope you found this video helpful. I am going to link to another video here that you might like. And if you're not a subscriber, I would love for you to be. Just click right there and don't forget to click on the notification bell to be notified anytime I upload new videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.